Guys, right now we're at Dynamic Attraction, and I love coming over here because you guys build what I think are the world's greatest rides, without a shadow of doubt. And it's cool. It's also kind of tough for you guys because there's so much stuff you can't talk about just because of contracts and things like that. Google it, you'll find out. But we're coming here to talk to you because you have two new concepts. One brass ring award-winning new concept. But first I want to talk about this guy, and that is the Dragon Rider over here, which is a new take on the flying theater motorbike concept.
Correct.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, we have a lot of, our flying theater is very popular, and it's an excellent guest experience, soft and smooth and really exhilarating for the guests, but we were finding that a lot of customers coming to us and didn't have room to put our flying theater. It's a fairly large,
those take
it takes a lot of space, so we're working on different concepts of how to shrink our space and become more flexible. So we created a more of a simulator-like experience, has a meter of heave and pitch and roll that is quite exciting, quite a bit different than guest experience in a flying theater, and it fits in a smaller space, so it can go in scalable sizes.
I was going to say, how much smaller are we talking about that compared to your flying theater?
Half.
Half, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's much smaller.
Yeah, or it can be scalable. It doesn't have to be half, it can be the same size. It's just we can go in banks of 6, 12, 24, 36 size seats. Our smallest flying theater is 40 seats.
It's definitely interesting how you're holding on different style of seating there.
Ergonomically, we found that to be, we're still working with some different restraint systems to work that out, but we've got a mock-up in our facility and are still working out the different restraint systems for different sized people.
That's obviously a concern with those kind of things. Now, the other one I want to talk about is what is the all-terrain dark ride, which to me, guys, this is one of the coolest things I've seen on the show floor. It is a trackless ride vehicle that can go upstairs, downstairs, indoor, outdoor. Man, talk about this one.
Okay, well, we were, in the dark ride scenario, we like to think of ourselves as leaders in media-based attractions. And quite often in media-based attractions, we're simulating movements, right? We're simulating this, we're simulating going in and out of water, in and out of this, up and down hills, all through simulation and on a track. So we have a navigational system that allows you to go up and down and not simulate anything. Actually, we call this the real adventure, and we're very pleased with it. And in fact, we did get the award for Brass Ring for Best New Concept Award with this particular AGV.
And so what we're learning is you are the only company who's ever won this brass award in this category.
That's true, but we're also the only guys that won the Brass Ring 3 times in a row.
That is
so we like to think of ourselves as quite innovative, and that's probably speaks to the 3 in a row.
And making the best rides in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I've got to ask, what is the one thing this ride could do that would just have you so excited? That one element that would just be the wow, the knock your socks off kind of thing.
Well, we actually mocked this up over at our facility. Our landlord was kind enough to give us an empty field next to us, which we created, not quite as extensive a setup as this is, but we did create that. We created stairs that the vehicle comes down, and just watching we've had lots of demonstrations this week, and watching the faces on the people coming down the steps is, and there's no windshield, so again, the wind and the sun, these are real. We're not simulating these. This is real special effects.
Oh, I love it. Now, the other one thing I wanted to talk to you quickly about at the booth is you have some banners up for some more IP-based content and packages. So there's, a banner for a G.I. Joe attraction or a Magic School Bus attraction. Is there anything you could say about those?
Well, again, you know what our industry's like. They never like to tell you too much, but when you're doing media-based attractions, we can, with certain clients, give them more details on exactly how we can theme out a pretty, obviously, IP associated with an outdoor attraction such as this would be kind of fun. And the IP holders are looking to see their IP put to use in pretty exciting different ways, different verticals, different markets. And all I can say there is that I think we've impressed them enough to say that this might be a really good application for some of that IP.
All right.
Call that a tease.
Exactly. Well, Guy, we need to let you go as a giant ice sculpture with the Dynamic Attractions logo has shown up behind us. So we've got to let you get to your shindig here, and we've got to go continue with our thing. Keep making some awesome rides. We'll keep coming back every year, all right?
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to day 1 of IAAPA, and what a dynamic way to start IAAPA. with dynamic attractions and some big announcements. So, a couple of ground rules, just to let you know, what we will be doing is we've got plenty of time for questions and answers after the announcement. We're going to be hearing from Guy Nelson, the CEO of Dynamic Attractions. He will be introducing the company's brand spanking new president, Hao Wang. And then we were going to be hearing about the new products from our Senior Vice President of Creative Services, George Walker. Please welcome with me the CEO of Dynamic Attractions, Mr. Guy Nelson.
Thank you, John. Welcome, everybody. It's really, IAAPA is a fun time for everyone, and we are particularly excited today, as we were, I guess, virtually every time we've come for the last few years. We introduce new products if we can. We've got 2 new products this year. One in our theater product range. Of course, when it comes to theater products, we like to think we broke ground on that. We've got about 9 of those all over the world, and more coming. But we've got another product that we're going to announce. George will give you a little more details on exactly what the new theater product is. And we've got a second product that our people have been working on for the last number of months. That is, let's say, a dark ride that's never been built before. So I'll let George explain that one as well. But so it's a fun time for us to be in. We do think that because we participate in some of the most popular attractions in the world, manufacturing them, designing them, building them, we want to keep on in that tradition. We're quite an innovative company. We've got a lot of engineers working for us. We've got a lot of creative people working for us. And so it's the combination of that comes out with some of the most exciting attractions in the world. So one of them, or 2 of them, I think, are going to be today. Now, I also want to introduce a new member of our team. Hao Wang is president of Dynamic Attractions. I was playing that role for a period of time, but I started to figure out the rides were really so complicated. I needed some help with somebody who actually could handle 100 engineers. So Hao joined us. He comes from the automotive industry. In fact, he's been building supercars and for the last 20 years, and that is a big part of our future. We make special things that move and move people in volumes, and so I think Hao's addition is going to really help us move it to another level. So Hao, if you want to come up and tell us what a supercar is, that would be great. So Hao Wang.
Thank you, Guy. How exciting is this? This is my first IAAPA, and ever since the stepping in this morning at 8:30 in the kickoff show, it was like this feels like a beginning of an F1 race, and it truly does. It's and that's not where the similarities end. The products that we will be bringing you, the products that we will be announcing you here today, and the future products that we will be bringing out will incorporate some of that F1 technology. And we're looking to innovate, to bring new technologies to bear in the products that we provide to increase and enhance the user experience. And that's our goal at Dynamic. We're going to continue to push the boundaries. You know, status quo is not good enough. You know, we're going to look for new ways of enhancing the user experience and bring excitement to millions of people worldwide. You know, I've been doing boring things like building supercars and race cars the last 20 years. Thought I'd try something new. You know, I was a big fan of cars, and before that, I was a bigger fan of rides. And I'm finally able to be part of that. So thank you, and we're looking to a great show. You know, one of the parts of a great show is the show and the ride. You have to bring that together, and that's what we're focusing on. So with that, let me introduce our VP of SVP of Dynamic Attractions, George Walker.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Hao Wang, and he's underselling it. I mean, he builds supercars. He's got a legacy background, was it 20 years in the industry, just amazing, amazing technology that comes from that part of the world, and that part of that industry in the world. And we're taking some of that, plus some of the stuff that we've been working on for about 2 years now. And I'm going to tell a real quick story. It was about 2 years ago. I sat there with Guy Nelson and Mike and Cindy and the whole team. We sat in a conference room and we started to stroke our goatees. And we thought, what would be the next coolest thing that we could introduce to the world? And coincidentally, it had a lot to do with cars and vehicle technology. We thought, what if there were a ride vehicle that could go anywhere and could do almost anything? and yet be totally safe and totally fun at the same time. And that's where we came up with this concept. So now imagine, if you will, the newest addition to our Dark Ride product line. Imagine a Dark Ride vehicle, it could go indoor or outdoor, that could literally, the road no longer applies here. It can go up and down steep inclines and declines. It can go over rough and rocky terrain. We are calling it the all-terrain Dark Ride. It's autonomous, it's omnidirectional, multiple vehicles can be on the same place at the same time, and yet you can also drive it if you want to, but safely. Now, if you think about the world of self-driving cars, that's taking over right now, right? Self-driving cars are a big thing, except that in the world of self-driving cars, the self-driving cars are trying not to crash or collide or put you in a dangerous situation. Well, we're going to have the opposite scenario on our hands because we have total control over the environment. We're a theme park, so we're going to intentionally make you feel like you are in a dangerous, precarious, or exciting situation. It's like the car chase in the movies come to life. So, with that said, what I would like to do now is introduce to you with this video that we have the world's first and only all-terrain dark ride. There we go. Pretty cool, right? But wait, there's more. Why would we stop with just introducing a cool new dark ride system to the world when we could also introduce a cool new flying theater product to the world? So, the next product I'm going to talk to you about today is called the Dynamic Flightcycle. And we call it the flight cycle because you're going to be sitting in it like in a flying theater. But normally in a flying theater, you have kind of a fun and placid, serene, scenic experience. That's where you're sort of sitting back and drifting through the air. Well, what if you were in more of like a motorcycle position, leaning forward into the wind, like a motorcycle with wings? And so that's the concept of the Flightcycle product line. And we're also going to be introducing a thing that we call attraction packages. This is where we're going to take all of the media, all of the story, all of the concepts, we're going to wrap it all up into one package. Kind of like when you go to buy a car at a car dealership. You walk onto the lot, and as soon as you get there, you pick out your color, you pick out certain features, but then when you're done, you have everything that you need, you settle on a price, we hand you the keys, and you drive off the lot. That's what an attraction package is. So with the Flightcycle, we started to think, well, what would be kind of fun? If you're in this almost like riding a horse kind of position, what would be a fun thing to do with the Flightcycle? Let me ask a question. Who here in this crowd likes dragons?
Make way! Make way! Dragon! We are here to recruit for our mighty struggle. Who here wants to join our fight against the evil kingdoms? Who here wants to soar among the mystic roads?
Join our forces!
Who here would like to become Dragon Riders? Dragon Riders! Now, we'd like to show you what it would be like to be a Dragon Rider!
I will tell you a little bit about the Dragon Rider storyline. So imagine that there are two kingdoms in a medieval world, and that they are constantly doing battle with one another. And the way in which they battle, they do so by riding on the backs of dragons. They do so by riding on the backs of dragons. And that's what this system is going to allow you to do. One of the things that we really like about it is that it actually is a very modular system. So we have the ability to scale it up or down. We can have a large theater for you, or we can actually do a smaller one. And even our ceiling height requirements for this system are much, much lower. So that means that if you have a smaller space, we're much more likely to be able to fit that into that space. So take, for example, a classic flying theater model. Those require very, very tall, very large space, just by the very nature of the way a flying theater works. But with a flight cycle, the modularity of it allows us to cram it into lots of different fun spaces. So if you have a challenging space, feel free to make an appointment with the sales team, and we will get that, get your questions answered about that and get that figured out. And now at this time, I'd like to invite the entire Dynamic Attractions executive staff to come up to the booth, and we will unveil our Dragon Rider Flight Cycle vehicle model and our all-terrain dark ride model. All right, come on, guys, get up here, get up here. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. We appreciate everyone coming out to hear our announcements about today. And I'd also like to take this moment to open up the floor to any questions that you may have.